Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Tuesday Talk. Listen, today's episode is going to be good, so let's dive straight into it. I'll see you after the intro. So, of course, as you guys know, it is February, known as the month of love because, of course, Valentine's Day. It's literally pure bliss. If you did not see my Valentine's edition of Weekend Recap, it's in the description box below for you guys. Valentine's Day was so special this year. I loved every single moment of it. And you get to see it for yourself and how it went for me if you go check out the link in the description box below. So because of Valentine's Day, I decided, why not at least have a part of February where we talk about love in these three aspects: loving yourself, loving God, and loving others. Let's get into it. So number one is loving yourself. We talked about this in Couch Conversations episode 3. The whole episode was about self-love. And so I'm going to transfer some of those thoughts from that video over to this one. Self-love is defined as having a high regard for yourself, for your well-being, and the way that you love yourself shows others how to love you, and it is the standard of how you expect to be treated. And here's the thing that I heard one of my favorite preachers, male vocalists, gospel artists, he said this, Marvin Sapp, he said, "You can't be anything to anyone else if you aren't everything to yourself first." And ever since I heard that, I was like, OMG, I'm taking that and I'm running with it. When it comes to a relationship, if you're in a insecure state of mind where you feel like a significant other will complete you to get rid of that insecurity, you will drive yourself insane looking for comfort in someone who can't give that to you because they don't want to deal with the toxicity you bring, and you haven't taken the time to work on you before entering that relationship. So before you run rampant trying to always look for external pleasures in relationships, make sure that you are internally good with who you are so that you don't run anyone else off when you do get to that place where you are in a relationship with someone else. I'm just helping y'all out because these teenagers out here, I have seen a lot. You have to love yourself enough to know that you don't always need someone to complete you, and that your heart is yours before anyone else steals it. You know, you should already be 100% before you commit to a serious relationship. You have to love yourself enough to know what you need and what you don't need, and what type of person you need in your life. If you find yourself constantly giving and you're never receiving, then there is a problem. Loving yourself is doing what's best for you unapologetically. Loving yourself is finding ways to become a better person. Loving yourself is distancing yourself from toxic people and situations that are tearing your mental health apart. You know, I knew I loved myself when I had enough respect to put me first, and I didn't care about the opinions of other people. And I was okay with not pleasing other people based on the decision that I made for myself. You have to follow your heart while using your brain at the same time. So number 2 is loving God. It's really simple. Like when you make the choice to give God your heart and your life, that's one of the best decisions you will ever make for yourself, period. When you love God and serve God and you put him first, everything falls into place. And the way that he loves you will show you how to love yourself as well. So this all ties together. You know, the Bible says that to know God is to love God. It's like a relationship with somebody. You love them, you experience them a few times, you're in their presence, and then you start to see like, wow, this is the way that I was always meant to be loved and how I deserve to be loved. And so when you get to know that person, you know, because you love them, you trust them, and you see something in that relationship. It's literally almost the same with God. You know, we have a few encounters with God, and then, you know, you commit to a relationship with God through prayer, worship, and devotion, and you get to know God on a deeper level that is beyond anything you could ever imagine. We've talked about loving God. We've talked about loving ourselves. Loving God helps us to love ourselves. but it also helps us to do this third and final thing: love others. And of course, I've talked about this so many times, I'm someone who loves hard, especially when it comes to my favorite people, all day. And my people that are watching right now know this. I'm always going to show you how much I care for you, appreciate you, love you, and all of that. I love to be loved on correctly. So I set the standard by showing you the action that I want reciprocated, if that makes sense. Not just for it to be reciprocated, but because that's just what I do. Because I love seeing my people win. And I know what it feels like to hit rock bottom from childhood experiences that already happened to me. And I have been in those places in my life where I have had no clue what to do. And so now that I'm back on my A game and I have the support, for those moments, I can be supportive of my people that are having a rough time because I've recovered from that, or I have recovered far enough into the process that I can still help someone else. As a friend, I always try to be intentional about the words that I speak when it comes to being a support to my friends. Many of the things that my friends tell me, I'm really not judgmental. I mean, being a pastor's kid, that alone is judgment city because of the stereotypes that church people have, because of, a system of thinking that church people have created about PKs, about people like us. I know how that makes me feel, and I don't want to carry that same vibe of dealing with other people that I'm close to. Things happen. You have disagreements and, you don't talk for 3 days. That happened to me and my best friends like 2 days after Christmas last year. And I remember muting the group chat, and we didn't say anything until like a few days before New Year's or January 1st. And we were like, Happy New Year. And then we got over it and we started over. But one thing about me when it comes to friendships, and, like situationships, I never want my people to feel like they can't trust me, because I know what it feels like when trust is broken. And it don't even be me. I'm the one who ends up crying. I'm the one who wants to throw stuff. I'm the one who gets beat up emotionally. Okay. As a friend, if I am manipulating, hurtful, unfair, etc., then I am not displaying the best version of me that I can possibly be as a friend. And I never want to be so closed off to my perspective that I lose what could have simply been fixed if I took the time to listen. And that's always how I think about it. I remember last year, I was in the process of unfriending someone after 10 years of friendship, someone that I've known since kindergarten. So basically a good majority of my life. And this person did not need to be in my life anymore. It was time for them to go. Their season in my life had ended, and they would do stuff and say stuff. And then they let summer break pass by. And then the new school year, rolled in, and they tried to pick back up where they left off. Like the problems just disappeared. And I'm like, no, the problems were never addressed in the first place. And you're the one who started it. And once somebody has told you that you have hurt them, you don't get to decide that you didn't. And, going back to our first point, self-love, I'm glad that I loved myself enough to know the difference between how I was being treated versus what I deserve. If that does not match, then I seriously do not want it at all. I had to drop it. And now I have the greatest peace ever. And it felt so good ending that in November of last year. And once I got to school after winter break and I had saw this person from a distance at school, I said to myself, it feels good walking into 2023 without that person and all the drama that they brought to me and my friends' lives. Well, there you have it. That's how it works. When you love God, you learn to love yourself, and you also learn to love others in the process. It all ties together. What comes to my mind during Valentine's, week, are all of these songs: Love by Kirk Franklin, Love Thing by Michelle Williams, That's the Only Way to Love, Fred Hammond and the United Tenors, To Be Loved, Jackie Wilson, His Love, the Clark Sisters. That was my Valentine's Day playlist this year. I hope you guys had a fantastic Valentine's Day. Let me know how it went for you guys and what you did if you celebrated. Anyways, like I said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.